And we're back.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
We're back on the
Okay.
pod.
We're going to try this again and see if we can
You're-
nail it this time.
All right. Tee me up.
Shall we do it? Shall we pod?
Let's pod.
Yeah. Nailed
Nailed it.
David, I have something to show you. With age comes prescription glasses. What do you think?
Dang, they look great.
Do they? Do they make me look
Yeah.
smarter?
Of course. They're like a very good, they like blend with your face very well.
Thank
Color's
you.
good. Shape is good. It's
Thank
good.
you very
How do you feel
much.
about having
Thank
to go
you.
to this new part of aging?
Well, when I turned 44 last year, I started picking up my phone and having to pull it away from my face a little bit. And I no longer have to do that.
There you go. That's nice.
That is nice. And I try and make them look like fit in with the aesthetic. I'm a
For sure.
gold girl. I like gold jewelry and things. So it just feels like another accessory, to be perfectly
like it.
honest. And I'm here for it.
I like it.
I can see.
That's that's the most important part. So do you only have to wear them when you're reading? Are they like technically like reading glasses, or do you have to wear them like all the time?
I was wearing blue light blocking glasses, as we've talked about on the pod.
Oh yeah.
Because we spend so much time on the computer and the phone and all the things. Yes, exactly. So I was already in the habit and the practice of doing that. So I added blue light blocking to these as well. So it's a 1-2 punch.
I was gonna say they don't reflect
now
at
I
all
can just
for whatever you're looking at. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I can do that a little
Okay.
bit. You can see a little bit of light, but
Yeah,
I know my angles.
that's awesome. Yeah, look at you. It's like you're a professional or something. Well, that's good. I think you look good. Aging gracefully. That's the way to do it.
I'm doing the best
No one would know
I
you're as
can,
old as you
David.
are.
I'm doing
That's
the best
all we
I can.
do. That's it. Well,
I want to get back into that later, actually, when we get into some industry stuff. Just like aging and aging in the industry and all of those things. I definitely want to touch on that.
Let's do it.
I bet you do. I bet you do.
I do.
Shall we break some ice?
Yeah, let's break some ice.
A little bit of ice. Just a little bit of ice.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Hit me with some ice to chop.
A different kind of ice that I want to break out there in the world. But let's break this kind of ice in here.
Yes. All right.
Okay. This might be one that leads into another conversation, but when you go to the grocery store, do you return your shopping cart
every
basket?
time?
Every time.
I go to a thing where you can like either the things in the parking lot or front door. Absolutely. It's the Midwestern part of me.
That's amazing. You know that there's I should have been more prepared with this, but sometimes on my algorithm shows me like these cart police people that
hilarious.
will stand out in the parking lot and be
Return
like, "Hey, you wanna pay it forward and
put that back?
Put that back." That triggers some shit inside of people. They feel exposed.
Oh yeah,
there's
don't you tell me what to do.
People out there that do not return their carts, and when somebody calls them on it, it makes for great content, David.
I have always done that, and I think I always will. I at one point, one of my first jobs was Walmart, and I like pushed carts back in, which like I actually enjoyed that. It was just like a task. I was like 15 or something, and like that was like part of what you did. Like you'd go out and you'd kill a half hour by like gathering up all the carts and pushing them all back, and now they have like their little robot that they use to do it. But I don't know. It's like it's not that hard. There's like a lot of things in society that I feel like, especially in the last. We're going on close to a decade now, and I feel like I know a big catalyst for this in terms of how people approach empathy and kindness and just like going the extra mile for people rather than feeling entitlement and like bitterness and everything's division and all of that is like, there's
Yeah.
little stuff that is like not that difficult to do that you can make somebody else's life easier. It's also like, go get your extra 5 to 10 steps on your watch. Like, just go put your fucking cart back. It's not that hard, you know?
Put your cart back.
Yeah.
I love that. I also return my shopping cart, and I'm
I
from
figured you
Southern
did.
California, so it's
There
not
you go.
just a regional thing, but it's a
All right.
kindness thing. It's a good
It is a
people
kindness
thing.
thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Be a good person.
Well, that kind of leads into another question.
Okay.
And I actually saw a similar question posed on the internet somewhere, but are there other things or other places or other ways in your life that you do pay it forward that you don't necessarily get recognized or acknowledged for? You know, like another
Oh.
example would be like, oh, if you see somebody's meter running out and you like stick a quarter in or something, like that's an act of kindness that will never get recognized or seen by the actual person. But is there anything else in your life that you feel like is falls into that category?
I think in general, I try very hard and I'm aware to live my life in a way that I feel like I'm doing that, even if it's not like financial. Like I don't do the thing with the parking meters, especially now, because most of them are like a smartphone, like
Yeah.
you're like going into an app
Yeah.
or whatever. But like the first thing that came to my mind when I started laughing is like, I sometimes will pick up other people's dog shit if I'm picking up Lucy's too, because like if it's like near the same thing and it's like clearly somebody else was a jerk, like sometimes I just I go twofer and I'll get it all.
Wow, that's a
Yeah.
great one, David.
It's like, it's kind of a gross, weird thing, but it's also like, I don't know, like, again, it's not if the responsibility of having a dog, and everybody has the time. I've had it too, where you like run out of bags. Like I have a thing on the
Sure.
leash, right? So like there's supposed to always be a bag, but every so often you're like, oh shit, like tap. And you always do like the tap the pockets in case someone is watching. Like I tried, but that has happened to me, a couple times in LA. I go back the next day and I do pick it up if it hasn't been picked up.
David.
So that's a pay it forward. I do that.
That is a wonderful pay it forward because there is so much dog shit.
Yep.
In this city.
It's gross. And like it's gross for everybody, but it's like my dog, I don't want her smelling your dog's shit. Like it's like that's not great. And they're scent hounds. Like that's what they do. So like it's just not good for anybody. So I try to, do my part. What about you?
That's a good one. Mine's actually pretty gross too. It falls under a really gross category. But I was thinking about asking this very question to you, and I was like, oh, this is mine. So at the gym, I clean up other people's hair.
Oh God.
David. Listen, I know it's disgusting.
I have a thing.
It's disgusting. I know, but it's so gross.
Loose hair.
So many people have that same thing. And like, though I find it absolutely atrocious and disgusting, I would rather pick it up so that people don't have to have that same exact reaction that you just had, because the hair ends up like at Equinox, there's just like a bunch of towels, right, in the locker room and on the floor. And sometimes hair just like gets swept up into these towels. But who wants to pick up a fresh, clean towel when there's like a hair hanging on it? So okay, relax, David.
Oh man, that's like one of the like really like makes me almost feel nauseous. Like I don't know what it is, but I have had like a weird thing with like loose hair my whole life. Like there were these weird glasses that we used to drink orange juice out, and I think it was pulp, but as a child I was like, there's hair in those glasses and I can't drink out of those glasses. Like I've had like a thing like this is like actually like a weird I'm all uncomfortable. I'm starting to sweat.
For the listeners out there, he is not okay. Well, then, you know what? You know what I say to this, David? This reaction that I'm getting?
Go pick up some hair. I know. Well, thank you. Yes. Thank you. That's
you're
much better.
welcome.
I thought you were like, face your fear.
No. I get it.
All right.
I understand, but like I don't like to see it either. And I want to be able to just like walk up and feel like these towels are clean and fresh and I can put them on my body without feeling like there's things. So if
That's
I see a
awesome.
loose hair, I pick it up. If I see hair on the walls in the shower, I wipe it down. Not with
Look
my
at
hand,
you.
but I wipe it down. I clean up other
That's
people's hair and you're welcome, world, because
that's
I
awesome.
know
Yeah,
it's
that's taking one
gross.
for the team because,
Big one.
oh man, that one really set me off. I don't know if you knew.
I don't think I knew,
Oh
but
man, yeah,
wow,
it's a thing.
what a reaction.
Yeah, I don't know why, but it's always been a thing. And Allie, like, she's like has a lot of hair on her head. Like she just like has
Yes.
a lot
Yes.
of hair. So I am, I do it for us because hers doesn't like offend me as much, and mine obviously is my own hair. So like, you
Yeah.
know, and shaving and whatever else, like that's not a big deal. But like random people's like weird like loose hair
Yeah.
is just not something I like to encounter. So thanks. Take one
Yeah.
for the team.
Well, you don't ever work out in public spaces
Nope.
ever. So,
This is my gym too.
yeah, the people
Uh
that do work out in public spaces have to encounter quite a bit of loose hair. So,
yeah. Wow.
yeah,
Has the ice been broken? Is that
I
it?
think the ice has been broken. Let's move on.
I love
Let's
it.
move on.
Well, so a little peek behind the curtain for anyone who's listening and or watching is that normally when we jump into this, we jump in a few minutes before we go live and we kind of figure out what we're gonna talk about. So sorta, but not really. This whole thing
Yeah.
has been more playing jazz and just sort of seeing how the conversation rolls. But I do feel like as we've done these a little bit more, I feel like we've started to hone in on some stuff that we are both going through, that this has been really helpful to have this space because I've come in, I will say just from my own experience, the last couple months have been tough out here. It's been really dry work wise. And it's been really, it's been a lot with the protest stuff and the military being here and like the political climate and everything else,
Yeah.
along with it being summer and getting hot and like, all the things. So, this space has really helped me, personally for the last couple times that we've done it when I've been in a bad headspace coming in to like have this to talk things out, but just to like give people sort of a directional map of where I think we're going to go. Like I think on today's pod, I think we're going to dive in a little bit into where we both are maybe with our relationship to Los Angeles and our careers. And
Sure.
then, I am really curious about a couple things offshoots of that. Like I have no idea if we'll stick to that, but if you're listening, I think that's where we're going to start this thing and where we're going to go. So, so you recently just went back to work on a short film and you had another thing that I feel bad, but I forgot the second thing. There was a short film and something else.
The table read for the,
Yes.
yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
you had the short film
Couple
last week
projects. Yes.
and you were on the lot like Universal or Warner. I couldn't tell from was it
Well,
Universal?
it was just a fitting on the
Oh,
lot
okay.
of and Universal, yes. But the email that I received when we were setting up the costume fitting, to receive that message saying this is where our fitting is going to be, I was like, wow. I haven't
Relief.
been invited back on a lot in so long. And before this slump that I have been in work wise, was like very much a regular in these spaces and I was very comfortable in these spaces. But
Mm-hmm.
going back on the lot, even even just driving on, they've renovated and redone that entire Universal backlot entrance. All got redone over COVID, and they built like 4 new sound stages over there. It's beautiful, it's wonderful,
That's
but
cool.
I was watching all of that being done from the other side of the fence.
Yeah.
So when I pulled in, I drove in and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't even know which lane to go into, and and I ended up pulling into the wrong lane, the truck lane, the truck delivery
Oh, that's
lane.
funny.
So the woman opened the door and she just looked at me like,
New
she,
here.
yeah.
honeydew. Oh, honey.
100%.
That's
But
hilarious.
I knew at least to have my ID ready because I
Right.
knew she was going to ask for that. So I
I
was
know how
like,
this works.
"Pow, here's my ID." And she was like,
I'm in the
just,
system.
just so you know, this is the truck lane. You need to enter in the next one. I was like, wow, okay.
Yep. And you're back.
Rusty,
Yep.
rusty. Okay. But anyway, yes, being on the lot and being in that costume building again, like I've had many a fitting in that same building for various different projects. So it was just really nice to be there. We were not shooting there, but it was just like it just felt like, okay, this is a project of caliber and of note, and it felt good to be acknowledged and appreciated in that way again.
Amazing.
Yes. But yes, we were actually shooting at a home in Palmdale for
Okay.
a week. And yeah, I got to work with Loretta Devine,
That's
and
awesome.
she was wonderful. We only had her for one day, so we had to like knock out all of her stuff um, in that one day. But it was really nice. And I was number one on the call sheet. And that is a new experience for me as well. It's a short film, so it's the weight and responsibility of that was not as massive as it would be on something much higher scale.
Sure.
But I still felt a responsibility, and I still felt the value and the weight of what it means to be the number one on the call sheet, especially because my material was a lot heavier than the rest of the cast. I was
Okay.
holding on to a secret the
Mm.
entire film, which gets revealed by the end of the film. But I'm holding on to this very, very weighted and very, very heavy secret, while everybody else is light and having fun and drinking wine and kikiing with each other. So it was a very difficult space to hold on to while
Sure.
filming. When everybody else was able to just like drop and have fun and play, I still had
Yeah.
to hold on to this heavy, heavy weight for those days. But it felt good to have to work that hard again.
Hell yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So, how did it come about? Was this an audition from reps, or did you dig this one up yourself and find it, or how did it come about?
This was an offer,
Okay.
actually.
Oh,
This is
nice. Even better.
yeah, this is a friend of mine and her husband have a production company, and they wrote a film. They actually have written and have packaged quite a few projects, but I think that they had written this with me in mind,
Gotcha.
but also, just kind of like loosely having me in mind, and then reached out, and I was absolutely 100% interested. And then when Loretta Devine signed on to the project, I was even more just like, wow, yes,
That's awesome.
absolutely. This is going to be really exciting for me to sink my teeth into. Yeah.
So that's amazing. So how long had it been
Hmm.
up until the end of That Girl Lele, up until this?
Lele got canceled in February 2023,
Okay.
and I just shot this last week,
And was
June
this the first
2025.
like scripted thing that you like were shooting since then? Is that right?
I did a proof of concept project for another friend of mine
Okay.
that wrote a series and
Mm-hmm.
is pitching to networks. And he wanted to get something on film.
Sounds
So
familiar.
he had, yeah, he had reached out. And we were able to, get that shot done and shot within, a week or so. So it was
Nice.
not the first time that I was back on camera, but this was the first time that this was actually something like completed, and they had an idea and a goal of where they wanted it to go. Like this is going to festivals and they want to use this as a vehicle to get more money to make the feature of the exact same
Gotcha. That was
story.
my next
So
question.
yeah, yeah.
Cool.
So with a name like Loretta's attached to it, I think in the hope and pray that it's going to have a nice, long, juicy festival run.
Hell yeah.
But the proof of concept that I shot before, it's just something that we're kind of throwing spaghetti against the wall and seeing if anybody bites.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, it was a dry spell. I mean, a lull, an ebb, an ebb from a long, long flow.
Yeah.
For me to be back on camera.
So how did you, super loaded question, how'd you make it through that? How did you, I'm curious because, obviously, like, I don't like to think of it as like you called it something else in the very beginning, and I wanted to be like, no, that's like a negative way to think about it. Because I do think that like you can learn about yourself. So like, I'm curious a couple of things. I'm curious what you learned through that time away, how you stayed focused on the fact that like you still wanted to do it, because it can be very defeating when you're constantly like trying and it feels like the world's not looking your way anymore. I experience that all the time. So I'm curious kind of like on both those things, and then just like how you like physically and mentally made it through that bridge to get to where you are now.
Well, I don't necessarily think that I am done.
You're right.
Working my way through that, right? Like having these wins has been wonderful. Having things to work on and move the needle have absolutely been wonderful, but I still in my brain have not like broken the oh gosh, what am I trying to say?
You don't feel like it's the dry spell's over. It's like
Exactly.
you haven't arrived or anything. Right. Sure.
Yeah, I still feel like I'm right in the midst of all of that.
Yeah.
But I think that the biggest takeaway that I've gotten from this time is that I have to stop putting so much of my worth and my value on my work and how
Mm-hmm.
often I'm working.
Ooh.
Because it's yeah.
That was a good one. That was a good one. You made me repeat something last
Well,
time. I kind of want to make you repeat that. That was good.
Well, yeah, I mean, it is worth repeating. I am so much more than how often I work.
Mm-hmm.
And it it's interesting what has happened to me in this last 2.5 years or so of me not working. Um, when I see people that I've been acquaintances with or colleagues with throughout the years here in Los Angeles, people still come up to me and view me as a success.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're killing it right now."
Yep.
And I'm like, "What? That's crazy to me that that's how you see me in
Mm-hmm.
this moment, because the way that I'm seeing myself is quite the opposite, because I was on a trajectory, a very steady, slow but steady trajectory of upward success, right?
Yeah.
And what it feels to me now, in since I haven't worked a lot, it's that the success has like dropped significantly on that chart. It's not moving upwards anymore, or it's not moving at all. Maybe it's still like there, but it's not progressing. Um at least in the ways that I can see it or feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But other people's perceptions of me are very, very different. And it's a tug of war between people's perceptions and my own perception and like where I am actually.
Yeah.
So I have had a lot of success in this business, and I do believe in my heart that I'm going to continue having success in this business as long as I, stay mentally and emotionally strong and prepared, and stay the course. I'm a lifer in this game. I don't really care how long it takes me, because I realized and decided a long time ago that there is absolutely nothing else in my life that fills me in the way this work does. So there is no point in me doing anything else or attempting to do anything else. Now, I have found alternate ways to sustain my life, right? I very much love fitness, and that's just a part of who I am. And fitness will always have a huge space in my life. And I have found ways for fitness to make me money in order to
Sure.
be able to continue living here in this city and doing what I do. But at the end of the day, like, if I get a short film, I'm getting coverage for my fitness classes because that is the priority. That is the number one. That is what I'm here to do. And that will always, always take precedence over anything and everything. So I think, long answer to your very short question, that's how I continue to get up every day and keep going. I have a wonderful team of people that still very much believe in everything that I am doing. And I'm so thankful for that. And they are constantly trying to find me more opportunities to get and book and procure some work. But I'm thankful for the things that have come, and I am staying steady, strong, and ready for the things that are still coming.
Man, that was like a prepared answer. That was good. That last like killed it with these statements, these good
Little
little sound
soundbite?
bites.
Was that a little good little
Yeah, that was
soundbite?
good.
That can make a clip for the gram.
Absolutely. Kevin is here, by the way, and he said your other one that
Kevin.
I caught. He said that hits. He said, "Damn, that hits," and I agree.
Thank you, Kevin. Always.
That's. I think that perspective is incredibly important. I mean, like I think everybody doing this goes through their own perception of their own struggle. Like they perceive their ups and downs as, like big successes, big failures, like all of these different things, where I do think it's like all just points along the journey.
Yeah.
And it kind of takes us into sort of what's happening in the industry at large too, because your 2-year, whatever you want to call it, like the 2-year period of just like it not exactly linking up in the opportunity as it was before, coincides with like the worst couple of years in this industry for anyone trying to do this in forever.
Yeah.
I was just reading up on the bill going through the California legislature right now to try to get more tax incentives and more things going on for California to bring production back. And then some other articles. So there's a vote tomorrow, and they have agreed they doubled basically the incentive package from $350 million to $700 million. So that from what I've been able to kind of like discern out of all of this stuff, out of all the information, is like, if it passes, the only way that it doesn't still have a lot of bleeding out until we get help is if it goes into effect pretty much right away. It has to happen in 2025. If they wait and if they put a stipulation in that this passes and then it goes through a legislative process of actually taking a lot of time to be implemented, and their goal mark is like for these things to start to happen in 2026, you will not stop the bleeding. You won't, like the leak is too big. You got to actually patch the fucking boat this moment to get things to turn around. So the anticipated, it's really funny because the anticipated, I'm going to actually pull this up so I don't mess up the data, but the anticipated new jobs from this is between 4,400 to 5,500 jobs. So it says the additional funding is projected to increase the number of film jobs supported by the program by 40 to 50%, according to the California Film Commission, or 4,400 to 5,500 jobs. And then legislators are still working on a companion bill, AB 1138, which will make the program more generous and make funding available to more types of productions. The bill will increase tax credit received by each project from a base of 20% to 35%, with the potential to go up to 40% for filming outside of Los Angeles, which is like, I read later that places like San Francisco and other places that are trying to do more production, even if it's not scripted, they're not wanting to, like they still want people to have an incentive to shoot there too. The bill's going to expand that eligibility to sitcoms, animation, and large scale competition shows. So that's good. But if the other thing I read was that that while 4,400, 5,500 is great. Let me see if I can find this number fast. Cause this is a long article that I was reading. Yeah. So doubling the program should generate 4,000 to 5,000 jobs, according to state estimates. This is according to Variety. But in the past 2 years, California has lost 40,000 production jobs, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So, and they have this chart on TV and film production jobs. And this is an article called California is doubling its film incentive, but it may be too late to stop runaway production. The bleed is so significant, and it's way beyond just us as actors. And like myself is trying to sell a show as a writer and producer, director, creator person too. The timing of your drought, the timing of my, like having a show that we're trying to take out, and like literally 2022 was when everything was getting greenlit. It was like peak production. There was like a massive amount because it was like we had COVID. It spiked way back up to come back from COVID because people were dying to get stuff back on. And then the strikes and stuff happened. And the idea of like streaming being this new thing came crashing to reality of like, it doesn't make the same money in the same ways as television does with advertising. So there was just this like massive recalibration of the industry to try to figure out like how to make money. And the people at the top who have shareholders to answer to basically just were like cost cut, which forced them to go overseas, which forced them to go to other places in the US. And that bleeding, like I said before, is like, it's so severe that this bill is like so necessary, and it could really, force more stuff back, which means you'll have more auditions, which means I would have more auditions, which means Allie would have more opportunity to go do makeup and hair, camera crews, all of the things. Like there's so many jobs. Like this article about it maybe being too late starts out with talking about the person who was the food stylist on Mad Men. So she had to like, make Jell-O look like it was then, and carrot cuts that were 1-inch cubes that they served on airplanes at the time. And then she said she had been working forever. And then the beginning of 2024, everything fell off a cliff. She says, I called my old mentors and begged to be taken on as an assistant. I never had to do that in 20 years. And so for me, I'm coming up on my 20-year mark this summer.
20 years in LA?
Yeah. 20 years.
Holds for a moment.
I know, right?
Let's acknowledge that.
Yeah, I guess I'm struggling with it because to me, I feel like I loaded the deck in my perception of where I would be 20 years in. Sure. I really thought that I would have a lot more to show for my time than to be like struggling and being like, am I ever going to work again? Because I'm in that space right now. Because even like dubbing, which was the thing that's been paying my bills, has like severely dried up this summer. And it's terrifying. Like, it's just like one of those things like where you kind of like feel like you have this thing, and it's like at least like letting you stay in the game. And like, then when the big thing comes, like you're not as desperate, but like that's dried up now too. And it's just the trickle down of how much stuff like they're starting to dub in Canada. And it's not even, AI is a piece of this puzzle, but I don't really believe that it is the main culprit in what's happening, because I actually, Rick Rubin, I saw a quote from him the other day that basically said, I'm going to misquote him because I don't remember it exactly, but it was more or less like AI doesn't have the human perspective that the artist does. And he's like, you could give the same script to 5 different directors and you will get 5 different movies that will be varying in like severe degrees, even with the exact same script. And so AI is a new tool, but it's not dissimilar from like a programmable drum machine or something else that like changes the way that you maybe do the thing, but it doesn't change the artists who are still maybe like putting that thing out or giving it the life or giving it the human perspective. And that really kind of hit me when I needed to feel something, because it's the AI thing is still like this looming thing, and I've dabbled in it a little bit more, and I've tried to like figure it out for myself, and I really have like it's helpful for a lot of things. Yesterday, I was doing a Swirsky project, and I like literally, I thought it was the most simple thing. I was like, show me a newspaper article of the Chicago Bears winning the 2026 Super Bowl. And it showed me a thing, but it was like it was players who don't play for the Bears anymore. And then like weird faceless people. So I asked it, I was like, replace those people with these 3 exact human beings that like should have a basis of AI knowing how to draw from an image. And it put Matt Nagy. So if there's any football fans listening or knowing who this is, he was the coach of us during the double doink. He coached during Mitch Trubisky. This is like, we're talking not quite a decade ago, but like a long time ago. And they had him like winning the Super Bowl with Justin Fields and someone else. And I was like, what is happening? It was like AI was failing over and over again at something that I thought would be simple. So it's not AI as much as it is just in like real terms, like the jobs, like they just aren't here right now. So, whether that helps the perspective of, going through 2 years of not having a lot because there just isn't as much shooting here. It is different for actors because they'll fly you if it's the right thing and they have the budget and all that. But I do think even that, like when they can cut a corner right now, they cut a corner. So, I hope that this bill, like to bring it back to that, brings us back into a place where there at least is more opportunity here. Cause that's the reason you live here. Like what you said, you have to afford your life. Well, Los Angeles is crazy expensive. So is New York. Like, so are a lot of these big cities that have a lot going on, but it's just like, it's very difficult. Kevin chatted in here too. He said, this is true of animation storyboarding at the moment. AI doesn't understand nuance, emotional shift, sequential storytelling. It can't do human, he can't do human, not yet. And that is, I think that's how I've made peace, I guess, with that part of the terrifying, stampede towards this industry drying up. But, this bill is definitely essential, but I don't know. I don't know. That's where it's led to a lot of like I was saying, like approaching 20 years. Like I really wanted to have more to show. And I guess from your perspective too, with those 2 years away, it's like the thing that keeps you going is that this is the thing that makes the most sense to you, right? But then I don't know.
I can't imagine myself being fulfilled in the same type of ways or the same amount in doing anything else. So I have not really even come close to that moment of decision of whether to give up on something or keep trying, right? I haven't even come close to that because I'm still very much in the grind of the try. I think that we've talked about this before, but like, I thought my life was going to look very different after all the top of show guest stars and all the things that led me to my series regular and 47 episodes of a series regular. Like I thought that coming on the other side of that, it was going to look and feel very different. But yes, there was a lot of other variables that have come into play that I have to hold space for and take into consideration. And, you and I both were talking about how we were listening to Brad Pitt's episode of Armchair. And I think there was a moment that he was talking about the preparation for F1, which I know you're
I haven't gotten there yet.
About.
I'm like halfway through it.
Oh, you haven't even listened to it.
I'm halfway through. There was something that hit me. I heard is because what we were just talking about, he talked about moving out here, which again, very different time, but he did extra work and then he kind of whatever. And someone said like, Dax asked him like, when you got your first thing. And he said, if you aren't hitting it at 5 years, get the hell out of town. Cause like, it's never going to happen. And it like, I was like, cause like
exit, abort mission.
Yeah. I mean, cause in my defense, like I did have a lot of opportunity within my first 5 years. So like I could justify in my own head, like the original like gut punch of that was like, oh God, Brad. But then like the secondary piece is like, okay, fine. Like I have had the carrot dangled enough to know that like I'm here, but it's been a really long time since I've been able to do stuff on film the way that I moved out here with the intention of doing. So that like the imposter syndrome stuff of his interview really like has messed with my head because I'm really interested in what he's saying, but I'm like also,
I
it's hard
get
to hear
it.
somebody who like had the meteoric, like literally just like in a different stratosphere than almost anyone else of like movie star, like
Yeah.
movie star, you know?
But we have to remember that his journey is his and our
Yep.
journey is ours, and everybody is on a different path. And I we can get back into this another time, but you had a lot of mental health stuff that you had to deal with during that
Yeah.
time period, and that was the most important part, right? You were approaching that level of success from a very different lens than Brad
Yeah.
was approaching his. So but the piece that I'm going to talk about from his interview is not, it doesn't give too much away, and it's not going to like trigger too much in that way for you. But he was talking about F1 and how they were preparing for it, and like some of the things that they were like just getting ready to shoot or just about getting ready to do. And then we went on strike.
Oh
So they
yeah,
had
they got
to
broken in the middle. That's right.
abort mission. And like, so I think that a lot of the things that have been triggering me in the last year or so, driving down Sunset and seeing all these billboards for all of these brand new Netflix shows and like all of these actors that are getting these jobs and constantly still working, and I'm like, okay, so people are working, I'm just not one of them. But I have to
That's yeah.
remember that a lot of the projects that are now coming out, like F1 is coming out this week, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it's hitting theaters this week. Um, they got derailed because of the strike, so they had to pick back up afterwards. So a lot of the things that are coming out now were things that were already booked and already casted prior to all of the world shutting down,
Very
right?
true.
So, like revving this engine back up, yes, there is stuff that's happening in Los Angeles. I just had my first audition for The Pit season 2.
Hell yeah.
And they are filming in Los Angeles. I brought it into the pod last week. I auditioned for High Potential, which is also another show that takes place in Los Angeles and is filming in Los Angeles. Nobody Wants This season 2. They are also filming in Los Angeles. There are things that are happening here, but
Yeah.
there's only so many opportunities and so many, breakdowns that are coming out for these shows. So yes, it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's just happening less
Yep.
right now. Right now. Um, but yeah, I just have to hold faith and have faith in myself, my abilities, in what I feel like I was born and meant to do. Like this gift and this dream was placed in my soul and on my heart for a reason. And if I walk away from it, then I will be doing not only myself, but the industry a disservice. And I have to continue to remind myself of that.
Amen.
Um, but something else that I bumped up against this week is we didn't really touch on spoiler alerts and the things that we're watching, but there's a show called Forever that I touched on very briefly. Have you heard of it?
No.
Forever. It's on
Okay.
Netflix.
Okay.
People are it's the
Make a note.
reimagined Judy Blume novels from when we were kids.
Okay.
So Forever is really well done. It's a predominantly African American cast, so it was like huge in the culture for
Sure.
us, which is why it may not have like crossed your algorithm as much.
What do you mean?
But for the listener, no, but I think that you and Allie will actually enjoy it because
Okay.
it's basically like a romance novel brought to life, but it's like your first love. It's the
Oh, nice.
story
Okay.
of finding your first love. And like it just triggers that space in your heart of like what it felt like to have feelings for somebody for the very first time, have very strong feelings for somebody for the very first time. And watching these like two beautiful young actors travel through that journey is really nice. It's a very easy watch. I think both you and Allie will enjoy it. But I
Nice.
binged that, and as I was watching it, I was like, "Oh my god, I auditioned for this show, and I completely spaced that I auditioned for this show. But of course, then I went back in, I watched my tape. I was like, who did I audition for? Who booked it? All of the things. And the I went in a couple times, but the main role that I auditioned for was the mother's like play sister. So like the
Okay.
kid's auntie. And
Gotcha.
Karen Pittman is the woman that plays the mother. She's also on the morning show. She's a wonderful actress,
Oh, okay.
beautiful. But Karen Pittman she plays the mother on the show. And I was like, you know what? For shits and giggles, let me just find out how old Karen Pittman is. And according to Google, and they might be a little off for a couple years, but according to Google, Karen is 39 or 40 years old. And Karen Pittman is lovely, and she is having a moment, a working, successful moment right now. And I could not
Yeah.
be happier for her. But I'm older than her. And if you put us next to each other, I look closer to the daughter's age than her.
Mm,
You know what I mean? And
I
then
do know what you mean.
the woman that booked the role that I went in for, she gives like auntie also. Like she
Yeah.
gives like mature seasoned woman. But you put me in this category and I'm like, I'm never going to win.
Yeah.
I'm never going to win this. And
I feel this so much.
we've touched on this briefly, but it's like I feel like I'm being punished by the industry for taking incredible care of myself over these years.
Yeah. Yeah. This is so there's been like a trend lately too, and I think they did a roundtable about it, or they did something with Hollywood Reporter or Variety or one of them, with like all of the male actors who are like in their 50s who are having this big moment too, like Walter Goggins and can't think of his name, nominated for an Oscar for Sing Sing.
Coleman Domingo?
Coleman, yes. Him and somebody else, but like all these guys who are kind of like, they were in this mess for a long time. Pedro Pascal, he's the other one that like, and his story is really interesting for someone in my position too. Like, as you know, like he was just struggling and like getting along in his residuals or whatever. And then like, I actually saw a thing the other day that he was like helping a kid read for Oberyn in Game of Thrones, and then was like, oh, and then like called his people and like knew people and was like, I want to read for this. I'm helping a kid. I got to see the script because I'm reading with him. I want to be the character. And like, and just that kind of thing of like, it's funny too, because I just saw it's probably because the phones are listening, some quote from someone. Nah, I can't think of it. It's terrible that I don't remember, but it was like basically like your life starts at 40. Everything else is just like gathering information. And yeah, that one I was like, whoa, because I do feel like age wise, like all of a sudden when you get older, you understand so much about being younger. And like the last on camera thing I went out for that wasn't a commercial, that was like actually like a scripted thing, I think I was still going out for like 29, and I'm going to be 43. So it's hard for me. And also because I do like a lot of voiceover, like I can still play a kid because I can just kind of pitch my voice up, and it's like, it's pretty easy for me to just like break into like, Justin Timberlake was like that. Like when he did voiceover stuff, like he was kind of always playing younger people because he just has a higher tenor sort of voice. And so it's hard to not get in your head about that. And like, on one hand, you're supposed to be grateful because it's like, oh, look, we look young, like great.
Yes.
But like, everyone told me probably 10 fucking years ago that when I could play young dad is when everything would break open for me, because I had an older soul, and like, and I was, even when I came out here, that like, I was going out for teenage roles, but I was in my mid 20s, and like, and people could sense that there was more life there than the age I was going out for. But like, when does that ever then, when does this
Shift
connect
gears.
and make sense?
Yeah.
Because like, I'm in the same boat where it's like, if you can't see me as a dad, like my dad had me, I was like, what my parents are 30, almost 30 exactly years older than me. So I'm 43. So I was 13 when my dad, when my dad was my age. So like clearly, and I was the youngest of his 3 children. So like, you know, clearly I can be a dad and I can play a dad and all of that. But like, it's the same thing. If you put me in a room with a lot of guys who actually like are my age, like some of my best friends are fully gray, or some of my best friends just like look older. And
Yes.
genetics are awesome. You know, like they're awesome when they work in your favor.
Thankful. Yeah.
But in our world, there is like a thing where like a lot of the meatier roles and the stuff that you really want to do have that extra level of like lived experience that you really want to get to play with. And like, so far, I've never gotten the opportunity except for the one I wrote myself where I played a teacher. And that's like, for me, it comes back to the same thing. It's like, if you're constantly waiting for the other people to write you the right role, then it can be a real long wait. Whereas like, I've found like the only way that I'll probably get to do that is if I decide I want to do it myself and write it. But even that, it's been hard to find the motivation to like write a new thing too. Cause it's like everything right now is just like overwhelmingly frustrating in Los Angeles on a lot of levels. So
agreed.
So I feel your pain with the age thing. It's
yeah, I mean, it is tough. I feel like I've been trapped in a box of the only breakdowns that I'm getting, the only auditions I'm getting are the breakdown says between the ages of 40 and 50. And I am between that, and I played a mom on TV. And so I think that I've been trapped into this, like, oh, she's only a mom, but then we give her an opportunity to play something older. And like, they're just not buying it. Nobody's buying it. Every time I tell somebody out in the world, like how old I am, nobody believes me. So how can I get casting to believe in me if, you know what I mean? It's
so weird because people perceive that you would be wanting what is happening to you, that like you want people to think that you're younger than you are. Like that's like great, right? Like it's flattering or whatever it is. Yeah. But it's also like eventually, and that's what I think my fear with that is that eventually like I will get gray hair. Like I'm not probably going to be dying. Like I don't really care that much. And so like eventually it's going to be like all of a sudden I probably will look more my age. And then like, I feel like I've missed out on, I think a lot of the best stories that are written are with people that are somewhere between 30 and like 45, right? Like that's like kind of the meat and potatoes of like storytelling that you see on the big screen or on TV is those formative years. And I want to play in those. Yeah. So it's a weird thing.
It is a weird thing because, you know, I continue every day to like take incredible care of myself, and I'm not going to stop doing that. No. But I just want to be able to have the opportunity to, you know, maybe throw me as an audition for a 30-year-old. Let me see if I can do it. You know?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull that off.
You need the shit that I'm getting. I'm getting all these like really young things where I'm like,
switch.
But, well, and so also our opposites are many things. Also our opposites are I am quite tall and you are not very tall. So like that also leads to this being complicated because I do go out for the younger stuff and then I show up and I'm usually like way taller than most of the people. And so like, and it like immediately is like a physical thing that like you don't, then no one knows where to put me. And I think the same for you, like you know, you could show up. Yeah, you're your age, but then you come in and you have great skin, you take care of yourself, and you're smaller. So then it's like, well, you read as young, just like on a base level or something. But like, I don't know, it's it's just one of the many weird mental gymnastics that you do out here to try to like,
for sure,
figure it out.
I started saying in my slates, and I'm not sure if I brought this into the pod, where we've done so many episodes, I can't even remember anymore.
I know, right?
But I started saying in my slates because they make you say your height in every single one of your slates, and every time I get to that part, I'm like, Arr!
Same for the opposite reason. I'm always like 6'3".
So I started saying, hi, my name is Tiffany Daniels. I am 5'2", but I have 5'8" energy. And I'm located in
Nice.
Los Angeles.
I will not say the opposite. I'm 6'3", but I got 5'6" energy.
No. It
No,
doesn't
it's
quite work for
different.
you,
No,
but
it's kind of different.
yeah.
Yeah, it's.
Sometimes I'll just throw that in there and see if it makes a difference.
I think that to put a cap on this, because I know we're getting close to. I think to even bring it back to those guys that I was bringing up that like kind of hit late. That eventually, if you keep swinging, the right pitch will present itself for you to hit, a home run with. And I think that like.
Boom.
I do think too, because even like your short film experience, and then what I've been talking about, where I've realized that whether it's my reps or whether it's whatever, that like that Superman's not going to come across my desk. Like I'm not active enough to get in the room in the mix for the roles that I probably want. So therefore, I've realized like if I want certain things, I probably just have to create it out of my brain that's really active. So like. And then I think that you start to make connections with people that you also know are good and that can write a role for you, which I've been trying to do in my head for you as well, for something for us to do together. And that's, I think, the magic sort of thing that is like impossible to bottle and impossible to know how it like connects, but that the more that you are out here doing the thing, putting yourself out there and good work out there and like connecting with the people that care for you and care about you, that eventually like that right role will be written for you. And then like you said, like you're ready, which is kind of what it's all about.
Stay ready.
Yeah.
I love
Some days
that.
are easier than others, but
Absolutely. But we're still here, David. We're doing the thing.
Still here.
So let's take this out on a positive. Let's do some good. Tell me something good. I know you got something good to tell us.
I do. I feel like all my goods have been Swirsky lately, but
and that's okay.
They seem to still be the things that are. That's what's hitting right now. So I am leaning in. I am going next week. NASCAR is sending Dave Swirsky to Chicago for the Chicago NASCAR street race. So I'm flying in on the 4th, and then the race is the 5th and 6th, and then Allie is flying to Saudi Arabia to do this thing again that she's done now multiple times. It's this video game competition that they have a huge opening ceremony. It's like Post Malone is doing the opening ceremony. So they're getting him and the dancers and all of that ready for that. So she leaves on the 6th and then doesn't get back until the day after my birthday. So our next pod will be the day before my birthday. And I'll have been to Chicago to do this NASCAR thing. Make some connections. I get to interview some drivers, and I actually don't really know exactly what it's going to be, but my really good friend Sabrina, who lives in Chicago, she's going to be my right-hand man because Allie won't be able to go. So I got somebody to kind of do it with me. Zach Brown's playing a concert. So I'm excited to sort of just get a free trip and in the off season to have something cool to do as Swirsky kind of like, gears up for all the merch and everything else too. So that's my good.
I love that good. Congratulations. That's a good
Thank you. Hit me with yours.
Well, I mean, we've kind of touched on my goods already. I did wrap on that short film, and I feel very good about my work that I did in that. I'm back in the mix on The Pit. I'm auditioning, and I auditioned five times season 1. So this is my 6th opportunity to get on that show. They are trying, and I appreciate them for trying.
That's amazing.
I feel really good about that. I start teaching at the Hollywood Equinox next week.
Oh, nice.
It's really exciting for me. I'm moving my schedule around a little bit. So now I have like my dream locations. And I'm really looking forward to starting at a new place. And I have a gig with my tap company tonight. So I get to put my tap shoes on tonight and do a little tap dancing.
Nice.
Yeah, and I think by the time I see you next also, I will have seen my little Liam in The Lion King Jr.
Yes. Awesome. Yeah. I want to know all about that. That's amazing.
Yeah, his opening night is tomorrow night, so I'm going to make sure that I celebrate that for him.
I will also have seen, there are 2 movies that I'm very excited about. I want to see F1. We're going on Monday. And then Superman comes out on my birthday. So I won't have seen that when we talk, but I am going to be very excited to eventually, spoiler alert, both of those movies with you too here. So
yes. Okay. I will do my best to make sure that I can contribute to the conversation.
All right. All good. We always find things to talk about, Tiffany.
We do. We do. Thank you so much, David. Have
Thank
an
you.
amazing time in Chicago. Congrats
Thank you.
on
Thank you.
that. And
Appreciate
I'll
you.
see you in a couple weeks back in the pod.
Yeah. Thanks for everybody who listens and watches and supports this, and tell your friends.
Yes, please.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.